in a sense. He also tried to aim his car at one of the Williamsburg County Sheriff deputies as well.
Were they in their cars or on foot?
They were in their cars.
Okay. What about his prior record?
Your Honor, back in 2007, he had a receiving stolen goods. 2010, trafficking in cocaine, first offense. 2010, again, resisting arrest. 2011, assault and battery, first degree, and distribution of cocaine, first offense, and resisting arrest. 2015, obstructing justice, and 2017, obstructing justice.
Okay. All right, what you want to tell me about Mr. Law?
Thank you, Judge. Judge, before you is Mr. Christopher Scott. Now, Judge, it's clear that if you look at the amount of warrants, that it definitely appears that law enforcement has got a serious issue with Mr. White. I don't see how any one person could commit that many offenses. But Judge, I'll start with the first set of charges. Now, with regards to the him being on bond for domestic violence, I've made Mr. White aware of the new bond laws, and he's aware that if the court does grant a bond, that he will be subject to a different set of guidelines. But Judge, with respect to the charges in December, with the first set of charges, my client maintains, Judge, he has an alibi that he was not even there. And just based on the statement from law enforcement, Your Honor, they identified him by interviewing a individual by the name of...
Wait a minute. Oh, he wasn't there on what?
Well, when I believe, based on the incident report, and the solicitor can correct me if I'm wrong, when they actually got to the vehicle, the only person inside the vehicle that they were chasing was a young lady named Carmen Gonzalez. I don't know any Carmen Gonzalez's in the Williamsburg County area, but that's the name that she gave. And she said, yeah, it was Christopher White. And from there, that's where we start on this path of him being identified as...
He wasn't caught in the car.
He was not caught in he maintains that he was not even there. That it was not his car. That
It wasn't his car. What about all these drug offenses? All that's in the car?
Yes, sir.
And the pistol?
These ammunition they found, it was 1 bottle of Jose Cuervo, 1 can of Michelob Ultra, 1 spent brass catcher to fit a rifle, 1 loaded M&P 22 caliber rifle, 1 small clear bag of green leafy substance that weighed 1.78 grams, 1 drum style magazine that contained 16 22 caliber rounds of ammunition, 14 rounds of 22 caliber ammunition in the driver's seat, 1 .380 caliber round of ammunition, and an empty Ruger 380 with a magazine.
So he got a prior felony conviction?
He does.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And what?
He has assault and battery first degree, as well as distribution of cocaine.
Okay.
And
Distribution of cocaine?
And trafficking of cocaine first offense as well.
Traffic, okay.
And-
That gets him there.
Yeah,
Okay.
Judge, and I believe, just based on that fact, that I believe that law enforcement could have answered this question about him in the car, because if they've got his prints on file, I'm certain that they could have gone through that car, all these items that if it's his gun, if it's his bottle of Jose Cuervo, we could have flushed out that fact. But we have a person named Carmen Gonzalez, and we found all this thing in this car that the car is not his.
Who is the car registered to?
And Your Honor, I went through the discovery packet. I didn't even see where the car had gotten towed, or I didn't see any inventory. I just see a lot of warrants and a lot of warrant numbers. But as far as facts,
What about that, Madam Solicitor?
Your Honor, we do not have the information as well either at the moment.
Do you have discovered?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Okay. But you ain't giving it to Mr. Barlow.
He has discovery, yes, sir, Your Honor.
we have that. We just don't have any record or any information on this alleged car.
So how did you find all the stuff in the car?
It was searched. What happened was Mr. White, when he got to a dead end road in regards to this case, he hopped out on foot. Due to the area being high in bushes and trees and everything, limbs, law enforcement were unable to keep in contact, keep in touch with him, or keep him in the eyesight, so they lost track of him when he ran on foot. When they got to the vehicle, Ms. Carmen Gonzalez was seated in the car, and she is the one identified Mr. White as the driver.
Okay, and did they get a search warrant for the car? Or did she consent to search? Is she available?
We don't even believe she exists.
Well, we have an address for her, Your Honor.
You got a body cam video of her?
I believe they do. We have to request it from them. They're using a new system over at King Street Police Department, so we have to download that. But we have an address for Ms. Carmen Gonzalez.
But for her, you wouldn't know who was in the car?
That's correct.
Is she charged with anything?
No, sir, not at the moment.
So she wasn't charged with any of the drugs, or the firearms, or anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. All right.
Now, Your Honor, there are the other two cases, the other incidents that occurred as well.
So, is that?
No, he was on the run until they caught him on March the 4th. What happened on March the 4th, law enforcement received a tip from a confidential informant that Mr. White was located at the Deluxe Inn located in King Street. Officers with KPD and they made call outs to the occupants of that room, and after a while, a woman and a young man and a small child exited the room, and they advised that Mr. White was in the room hiding under the bed. They gave more commands for the defendant to come out, and to come up with his hands shown and get on the ground. He refused to do so and tried to run towards the fence located at the back of the hotel, surrounding the property.
So what, wait a minute. So this was prior to this chase?
The December incident that Mr. Barnes referenced to was before the hotel incident.
Okay. And so what were they gonna arrest him for there?
He had these outstanding warrants. He also had another case that occurred on January 16th as well too.
He had outstanding warrants on this car chase?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And he had outstanding warrants from January 16th as well, and that was also another car chase. They attempted to stop him in regards to speeding and disobeying the traffic lights near the intersection of Thorn Avenue and Lawrence Street. As he was driving, he continued to cross the lanes and cross the center line and continued to speed away from law enforcement. He exited the vehicle then as well with a backpack and ran on foot towards Lexington Avenue. There were two children in the car who are his sons, and they tried to run behind him as well. One of the sons actually ended up getting injured, attempting to jump the same fence that he jumped. And the mother of that son is the one who identified Mr. White as the driver of the vehicle during that time.
Judge, and just if you just looking at this in totality, Your Honor, Mr. White, there's no way he could have been. There's no way he was aware of any warrants in December, because his position he maintains, he was not even there. So we definitely do not believe he's a flight risk. He was not even aware of any of this.
He wasn't under the bed?
Oh, well, no, with the hotel situation, Judge, the law enforcement shows up, folks come out, he was there, they take him into custody. But again, we don't know the facts around that. All we know is that law enforcement came out, they took him into custody, and as a part of that, he got charged with unlawful neglect of a minor, and he picks up all of these charges, which, Judge, if you listen to the incident report, none of these things indicate any of these things happened. There's a woman, a child, another young man that come out. I don't know if any of those folks were charged, but Mr. White again is charged with resisting arrest and unlawful neglect, and again, possession of a weapon. It appears, like I said, that the law enforcement definitely has an issue with Mr. White, but Judge, that doesn't mean it's legally correct. Now, he resides here in the King Street area. He's been detained.
But if father failing to stop, but his children were in the car, and his mother, children identifying him as driver.
That's per the incident report, but Judge, it says that the mother of Christopher White the fourth. Again, it doesn't indicate that law enforcement, again, they're saying they saw him in another vehicle, another high-speed chase, but there's no mention.
They said he stopped and ran and jumped the
Yeah.
fence, and his children followed him, and his mother said, his children said he was on that car too. So he's got two failing to stop.
He's got two failed stops, and Judge, we just look at the fact that the similarities and these
Right.
incident reports are just so similar. It gives me a serious reason to pause. These incident reports for the same young man basically like copy and paste jobs with a few changing of facts. And he's got 15 warrants.
During that January 16th, 2024 failure to stop, when Mr. White left on foot, with that book bag that he carried, he dropped a few items as he was trying to jump the fence. And when they found on the ground, when they looked at the area where he was at, it was a Taurus 9mm pistol loaded with one magazine containing 8 rounds and 1 round in the chamber. Near the vehicle that he was driving, they found on the ground beside the driver's door, size 9.5 blue and white Air Jordan shoe, 2 cell phones, 1 small bag of leafy green substance weighing .14 grams, and an ID and a social security card belonging to Mr. White, along with other 27 clear sandwich bags and an empty 9mm magazine.
I set $100,000 cash bond with GPS money.
Thank you, Judge.